Okay, so it's time to expand some of our basic skills a little bit farther. All right. So right now I've got a real simple piece of code running right here. I've got a setup. I've got opened up a loop. I've got one simple function. It's called display integers, and I'm running it in my loop. So that's the only thing it's doing. Within my function display integers, I've created a variable. It's an integer variable, and I've set it equal to 93. I've named it my int. I can call it anything I want, and I'm simply printing it with a new line every time. So as it runs, it just prints out 93. So I change that to 94 just to convince you that it's working, and you'll see that it's just going to start putting out 94s. Okay. Well, your homework moving forward, I'm going to want to see more than just a number. I'm going to want to see a sentence, some description. This is really kind of useless. You'll get fired if you start doing work where the entire computer screen displays nothing but a number. All right? So I want it to say something. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. One way, it's not very pretty, but it's fairly easy to do, is that let's say I wanted to say, my name and, my grade is 94%. I could do that a couple of different ways. Let's start with just getting my grade is equal to. So I'm going to copy this, paste it right above, okay, and I want it on the same line. So what I need to do is I need to remove that ln because I want whatever it is to fit in this box to be in the same line. And I'll say, open quote, grade is equal, and we'll just keep it simple. Okay? So when I run this, you're going to see that, sure enough, grade is equal to 94. And if I want to stick a percent on the back of that, well, then I'm going to take this, and I can copy and paste it. I can put in here a percent. Now, oh, yeah, that's right. But keep in mind, I need to get rid of now the ln there, okay, because I want my new line to happen here. So if I go like that, and you can see that it's going to say 94%. So now let's add a new variable. Let's add a string variable, because I want to put my name in here. I want to be able to change it. So my name, I'll call it my name, and it's equal to Brian. Okay? And I'm simply going to put Brian in front of this. And I'm going to have to do my name. Okay, tell you that code, upload it. And, that doesn't look very good. I think actually what I need to do is add what? An apostrophe S and space. And then now we can upload it. And Brian's grade is 94%. Awesome. Okay. I've done that with 4 lines of code. Not too bad. Okay. But it still works and everything looks great. But let's do it in 1 line of code. We're going to concatenate that string. All right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it right below. And I think I'll call it concatenate. Actually, I'll call it concats. And call that concats. And up here, I'm going to run concats. Code. All right. So let's concatenate the string. So all we really want to do is we want it all on 1 line. So let's deal with it. Let's make it all added on right here. So I'm going to put my ln back because I want it on 1 line. And then you would think all I'd have to do is go plus and then add this stuff. And let's get rid of that. And then we're going to go plus, and then let's add the variable. And then we'll go plus, and then we'll add the percent. Now, believe it or not, oddly enough, from time to time, this actually works. I was a little surprised. They must be trying to improve the software. In fact, let's just give it a try. But then I'm going to show you what you really need to do to make sure it works. Alright, so let's see if this works. If it does, I'll be a little bit disappointed in the fact that, it did work. Okay? But I wouldn't count on that all the time. It certainly can fail, and I think a lot of times it's because I've just started off with a string, and it seems to know that I'm dealing with strings. But if I want it to be truly good and foolproof, alright, and this is important. Okay, this is a string. My name is a string. Okay? This is a string by nature. It's within quotes. It is a string. This is also a string. It's within quotes. This is an integer. Alright? So if I want this to guarantee to work no matter what I need to do is I need to type the word string in front of it and put parentheses around it. Okay? And now what's going to happen is it's going to work perfect. Let me show you an example where it doesn't work. Let's go ahead and I'm going to copy this line and I'm going to paste it right here. And I'm going to comment this one out. Let's just get rid of this. And get rid of this. And upload it. See, it errored. It didn't know what was going on, alright? It doesn't understand it. I don't know why it works when you put a string first, but it does. But most importantly, to be certain, always want it to work, just make sure you type string in front of it and then wrap it in parentheses, and that'll force it to become a string, and it works great. Okay? So let's always do this. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to bring this back. Let's always, if I'm converting it from an integer or a float or any variable type other than a string, let's cast it as a string by actually explicitly telling it to convert it into a string by typing the word string in front of it. Okay? And by doing so, we'll get an output. Alright? Let's do another thing which is also handy about using this. Let's say I'm dealing with a float. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this. And let's call this, I'm gonna give my grade now in decimal place. Okay, so I'm just gonna type the word concatenate float. Okay, and let's say that I'm getting a 94.2345. Okay, I've done some really high-end calculation. So this is no longer an integer. This is now a float. Oops, I can't spell it. Okay, so I should change that name to my float. Jeez, Brian, come on. Okay, so here's my float variable. and it's equal to 94.2345. All right? So if I do this, and run it, make sure I got this set right, put this in our loop, load it up. It's like, I actually have 4 decimal places, but only 2 decimal places are displayed. Well, to get more, all I have to do is put a comma here. So let's say I want to do 3 decimal places. Okay? So that's actually going to allow me to do 3 decimal places. If I do 4 decimal places, there you go. Okay? And I could, for example, put in 0. And it just rounds it out. All right? So, in summary, you're going to need to make sure your output is complete as a sentence. And as a rule of thumb, I think you really ought to do this every time. If you're going to concatenate, you can do this. All right? But I prefer it for sure on a single line, and it's not really any harder. All you have to do is add it. And the only thing you have to remember is that if any of these variables is not a string, you simply have to cast it as a string. You have to tell it, please turn it into a string, so that it'll fit within the data set, and it'll print it okay. All right? So hopefully this is useful, and once again, I will see you all again shortly.